Alright, quick update on the graph. So this is actually something we looked at yesterday in the live stream, but I wanted to make a quick video on this for those of you who didn't watch the live stream to know what to expect and what price levels we do need to get above before the graph gets bullish. So first of all, zooming out, you can currently see we're in this huge falling wedge. Now, typically these do have a higher likelihood of breaking out. I believe it's between 66.6 recurring to 70% chance of breaking out of these falling wedges. However, at this moment in time, I've made it very clear in all of my altcoin videos that when you are looking at these altcoins, you should be looking at the greater markets, because it's not just the typical chart setups that are going to play out when we're in these type of market scenarios. For example, the dollar is exceptionally bullish right now. This has negative connotations on both the stock market and the crypto market. So I'd be very cautious on trading any of these potential breakouts. That is just my opinion. I wanted to say that quickly before we do deep dive into the content. The dollar is basically inversely correlated to the crypto market. So when you see the dollar, rising up, breaking out the highs like this, it's not a good sign for the altcoin. So like I said, be very cautious if you do plan on trading this. Coming over to the higher time frames, you can see in the past week, we've really been butchered. Basically, every single Fibonacci that we could have drawn from this has been invalidated, because you can see, we would have previously run off something like this and something like this, but there's no point in drawing from high to low, because until you come up to your 70 or 80 cent, you're not even coming up to your first fib. And in terms of this chart setup, I believe this Fibonacci uptrend is best defined on the weekly. And then here's where things get sticky. You can see the lows of this uptrend are down here where this orange line is. I'll keep this fib on here just for keepsake. I'll move it out the way a little bit. But what's important about this is you can see there's a huge area of confluence around these levels. First of all, we have this orange line at 23.5 cent, which correlates to the lows of the uptrend. Now, what's interesting about this is, like I said, this is best defined on a weekly time frame, so a daily close below these lows wouldn't necessarily be the nail in the coffin. But I believe if we keep on shifting to the downside and kind of lollygagging and beating around the bush for the next day or two, coming into Sunday, if we get this weekly close and we close below 23 cent, then unfortunately this entire uptrend is going to be invalidated, and then it only makes sense that we're going to have to look at these micro Fibonacci impulses and see where we could be heading to. So the most important level of all, can't emphasize this enough, 23 cent. If we close below this on the weekly, it's pretty much the nail in the coffin, in my opinion. You can still argue, we would be in this descent, falling wedge, and we could break out, but like I said, the greater markets at this moment in time are getting butchered. Bitcoin's getting butchered, and altcoins, all of these altcoin pairs against the Bitcoin pairs are just not working out too well. So I'm all in on Bitcoin at this moment in time. But for the graph as well, you can see we've drawn these two micro Fibonacci's. Actually, they look like micro Fibonacci's, but to be honest, this is really a macro move. This is like a midterm move, but nonetheless, these are both the most viable Fibonacci retracements we've got at this moment in time. And there's a huge area of confluence. If you can see this orange box that I've got down here, normally my orange lines or orange boxes coordinate to Fibonacci levels. However, I guess you can consider this the 100% move, so this would still technically be a Fibonacci, which is in orange here. But as you can see, huge area of confluence between multiple Fibonacci's down here. This orange box that I'll extrapolate a little bit further out is also a very important level. You can see from this low to this high, your 1.618 is right down here at 17 cent, another level that we are below. And on your more macro scale, this big impulse that we were running off, your 1.618 is right here at 18 to 19 cent. Now, you could also draw something like this. I think we took out the 786 at that point, so I would prefer to draw the uptrend from here, as we perfectly backtested the 786 at this moment in time. You can see you would also have, this 1.6 is all the way in the minuses, so this is where it gets tricky. You don't have any more impulses to run off once you do close below 17 cent. Like, obviously I said 23 cent is the most important level, but if you close below 17 cent, then unfortunately it is pretty much price discovery to the downside. If you can see, if I invert this scale to make it look like a slightly different cryptocurrency, you can see, we're in a big uptrend right now. This is the low, but You know, this is all the way down here between 2 and 3 cents, so this would be pretty brutal if we do return to these levels. This is really the only thing holding us back, or, you know, keeping us afloat rather. I say holding us back because I've got this in the inverse chart just to see if I missed anything, but you know, looking at this objectively, after you do close, you know, 23 cent, if we close below there, that's pretty brutal. If we close below 17 cent as well, you know, all of these Fibonacci's would be looking at lower price targets. So tons of selling volume coming in. The bears are losing a tiny bit of momentum, apparently, according to the squeeze one, which I do find kind of confusing considering how fast we're going down. I imagine on the lower time frames, the daily, you can see as the selling volumes accumulated and as we're getting, you know, multiple rejections from this double 1.618, we are getting selling volume coming in, we are getting bearish momentum to the downside. So at this moment in time, you know my stance, I'm really only looking to accumulate Bitcoin while Bitcoin's in this choppy scenario. In the stream as well, we highlighted this is pretty much the only way that Bitcoin can reverse at this point, and that's doing some type of inverse head and shoulders move. I find the breakdown much more likely than the break up, simply looking at the stock market, the dollar. Everything's very shaky right now, and I don't necessarily think now is the best time for altcoins. So I did just want to specify that on top of the analysis. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got for the graph. If we finish on the 4-hourly time frame, you can see it was only about 12 hours ago that we did get a rejection from your 4-hourly EMA ribbons. We came right into, I believe this is your 25 EMA. We took out the 21 EMA, so we went up to your second, which is the 25 EMA, second shortest second shortest moving average. And as you can see, we got rejected, we're breaking down, and it looks like we want to have an M pattern to the downside. Now, I'm not going to extrapolate the price target, mainly because it would really be like a super small move down to maybe like 13 or 12 cent. I don't believe this would take us all the way down to the lows, and then this is also another very important level coming into basically between 11 to 12 cent, but you know, call it approximately 11.8 cent. If we do capitulate below those levels, then you know, we'd obviously be coming all the way down to 8 cent, which is the bottom of this falling wedge. So if we do see a rally, you know, looking at this on the daily time frame, if we converged and started to head up in the next week or so, you know, be very, very cautious, because if you come up to, you know, your 27, 28, 29 cent, you're not out of the blue until you do flip this as support. So there's a lot of levels to keep an eye on the graph. I will let you know if I believe we are breaking bullish, but in my opinion, all of these altcoins are getting ready for their next level of slaughter that I would imagine is coming next week. So be very cautious trading altcoins. I'm only looking to buy Bitcoin right now because I've taken a look at pretty much all of the altcoin Bitcoin pairs and almost everything apart from BNB, which was pointed out in the stream yesterday. BNB is like the only thing that is macro bullish at this moment in time against Bitcoin, and I imagine this is soon going to capitulate. So be very cautious trading altcoins. That is all I've got. Hope you found some value in this video. As always, cowboy out. Peace.